has taken over.
Let's go.
It's Ferrall.
Coast to coast. Steaks, chicks, stacks. You and I are going to make a lot of money.
It's Ferrall, coast to coast.
All right, Carver High, as we get into the third hour here, we're live in New York City. Good to have you with us on SportsGrid. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid. Are we hitting these college basketball games tonight?
We are going to hit these college basketball games tonight. Let's do the heavies first, and then you can tell me what you're going to get involved with, especially with some of these late-night West Coast games. Maryland will start with them. Memphis, will start with them in Temple tonight. In American Conference action, Memphis minus the 6.5. In that one, we have Michigan and Minnesota in the Big Ten, minus 9.5 for the Wolverines. There's Maryland. They're in Northwestern against the Wildcats. Rutgers catching a big number in Lincoln against Nebraska. And Gonzaga, late night, splashing around with the Beavers in Corvallis, laying 9.5.
I got to be honest, I love Oregon State tonight in Corvallis. I don't think Gonzaga has been winning games by very much at all. They haven't been covering. I'm going to take the Beavs in Corvallis. Memphis and Temple. Why do I think this is going to be a tough game for them? I just think the number is pretty big. I think Memphis is a really good team, 13-3, whatever. Temple's not bad. They're a 10-win team. Give me the number in Philly tonight with the Owls. Michigan's going to win at Williams Arena in Minneapolis, and they're going to cover. The Gophers stink. I like Northwestern tonight to cover that number in Evanston against Maryland. You're going to find out again what it's like playing on the road in the Big Ten here. Nebraska at home. They're going to beat Rutgers. Rutgers is only good when they play at the rack. I like Ace Bailey and Dylan Harper, but I still think that Nebraska is better than them. What next?
We do have a lot of games. You got CAA tonight. You've got Big West. You've got WCC, some Summit games, Big Sky. There's a lot of stuff on the docket here. Tell me what you're looking at off the menu.
All right, some of them. Wilmington at home over Northeastern. I'm laying the 6.5. I like Charleston laying 4.5 at Campbell. Just looking through some of these. JMU at home, laying 6.5. I think it's too much against Marshall, to be honest with you. I like Old Dominion at home, getting the 3 against App State. Moving further down the mix, I'm going to go with these. Arkansas State is at home. They're going to destroy Louisiana. I'm going to lay the 16.5 there. And then the games get really good. I think North Dakota State at home over Kansas City. I like Northern Arizona laying the 8 against Sac State in Flagstaff. I like this Liberty team against UTEP in Lynchburg laying the 8. I think that Montana, I'll take the 1.5 at Weber on the road. It's no joke, but I think they'll be in that. Washington State, I like over San Diego, even though it's on the road. And then Long Beach State, I think gets their ass beat by UC San Diego. I'll lay the points. I like Santa Clara laying the 4.5 against Loyola Marymount on the road. I like the Anteaters. Now listen, they don't cover these giant numbers, but Fullerton is that bad. They are that bad. Irvine tonight wins by 20 or more. At home, the Anteaters rock Fullerton. I like the Dons of San Francisco laying 6.5 in Malibu. They got enough problems in Malibu these days with fires, let alone their crappy basketball team. I like the Gauchos at home, smoking fatties and laying 6.5 in Santa Barbara over Riverside. Davis and Poly, give me 5 in Davis on the streets. There you go, Carver High. That's the rest.
Love the late night action out there. All those games are like 10 o'clock East tips or later.
Right.
It's just you can't beat it on the late night. You even got the Hawaii game at midnight East if you're so inclined. The real late night bailout blowout against Northridge going on this evening.
And I like that. Northridge is actually tough, but they'll lose that game on the Big Island. Lay the 2.5. Hawaii will win.
Lay the 2.5 with them. All right, there you go. How about hockey?
Everybody loves hockey.
Everybody does love hockey. There were only 2 games last night, and only one of the road favorites, the heavy road favorites, was able to win. Buffalo beat Carolina 4-2 last night, so the Sabres...
That was because that game started at 6 o'clock, Mike. I think it threw the Canes off of their game.
Threw the Canes off, that early start that they had.
See a 6 o'clock start in the history of the NHL ever. That's
on
like
a
right when you're
weeknight.
eating dinner.
A weeknight of all things, very bizarre. But the Oilers, as heavy favorites on the road, they did take care of business. 5-3, they beat the Wild. All right, our weekly look, the best and the worst in the NHL. We'll do the money line first. The Capitals still 12.1 units. Taking you to the window, the Canadians, Blue Jackets, Jets, and Ducks. How about the Ducks? They're 18-26, but because some of those wins have been plus 200, plus 300, etc., plus 5.7 units for the Ducks this year if you've played them on the money line. The worst, the Predators, 17.3. That is just about 8 units more than everyone else. Sabres, Islanders, Canucks, and Rangers that are on that list.
The Predators won last night at home, and the only teams I have faith in there on the money line winning side is the Caps, the Jackets, and the Jets. The Jackets, as we like to call them, the Sports Jackets, they're 15-5 at home, and then they won again last night at home. All they do is win at home. And then as far as the worst teams, I think all of those. I don't think the Canucks are as bad as everybody thinks they are. They're 5 games over. Let's see if they win tonight against L.A. Tough game with L.A. at Rogers in Vancouver tonight. I think the Rangers are, frankly, I bet on the other night in Colorado. They had the 2-1 lead. They blew it. They lose 3-2 in overtime. So they lost their little mini win streak. I think the Rangers are seeing some light at the end of the tunnel, Mike, that they're starting to turn it around a little bit. My guess is the Rangers do much better the rest of January, and then in February they take off.
Did you see the Columbus jerseys for the Stadium Series game that they're playing with Detroit? I will have to effort those for you tomorrow. They actually look pretty sharp. I didn't even realize, this is how overblown they are with the outdoor games. I didn't realize Columbus was hosting Detroit in an outdoor game the first week of March at the Buckeyes house at Ohio Stadium. So I will give you those tomorrow. I thought they were pretty good.
I hate that place.
I know you do. Blue Jackets are the best over team in the NHL, 29-14-1 to the up, along with the Sabres, Penguins, Islanders, and Canucks. As far as the downside, the Devils, 30-14-2 to the under, not allowing anything, the New Jersey Devils.
Well, there you go. The Devils are tough. But if you look at those teams on the, best over teams, it's because really the Sabres, Penguins, and Islanders all suck. That's why they're on that list. They get lit up every night.
They get lit up every single night. All right, Eastern Conference for the NHL, Hurricanes and Panthers, plus 375 at the top. Devils, then Leafs, Caps, Lightning, Bruins, Rangers. Caps, I believe, have the most points in the East right now, yet they are down in the 7-1 range.
The way they played, they are so tough. The Capitals at 7-1 right now are delicious. What is that Ranger number still? It's 12-1?
20
to 1
for the Rangers.
20-1.
I know that.
I think they're going to turn it around and be there in March and April. I do.
I know they've struggled, but if they got in, they went to the East Finals last year. They have the goalie that could do it. They've got guys with playoff experience.
Right.
They'd be dangerous if they get into the tournament.
I'm not just handing floor to anything. I think they've been kind of average.
So my team didn't win this weekend, but I still did with this app that's taking over the game. Sports Millions Pick'em lets you make quick and easy predictions. Pick your favorite players, go higher or lower, and you can still win big even if your team loses. Plus, the multiplier is insane. With just a few picks, you can win big money. So get on it. They've got a welcome bonus to help you start off your winning streak.
anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York team has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What?
How do you do this once?
Oh, Donnie, you've got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
So what do you think of the West, Mike? I mean, I just think the Jets always fold up shop eventually. I know they have a talented team, a good team. They win a lot, and then in the playoffs, they fold up shop. And for me, the money's still in that Central on the Stars or Avs. And then in the Pacific, for me, it's the Oilers or Vegas.
Yeah, and the Oilers are they're still the favorites. They've been the favorites. They're plus 275. The Stars are plus 475. Then the Knights, then the Avalanche, then Winnipeg, with the Kings and the Canucks right behind them in double-digit range, 10-1 and 14-1. Look, the Oilers last year proved to you they can get there to the finish line. Yeah. I always say to you, I think it's so hard when you lose in the final to get all the way back to that point. Now, Florida proved me wrong last year. They lost and then went back and won. Having that happen 2 years in a row, I think that's difficult. So, no Oilers for me. I can't back them.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but I can. I still think that these are young guys that can get it done. They're super talented, super fast, super deep, and I think they're going to be there when it's all said and done. And then, the question will be, who are they going to face in the Western Final? I think it's Dallas or Colorado. So all those three teams are very dangerous. I still think of the three, the Oilers are the most dangerous. And my guess is if, believe it or not, just like the Panthers lost and then won it, I think the Oilers lost in 7. They were down 3-0, lost in 7. I think they'd come back and win the Stanley Cup. That would be my guess right now. Right now in the 16th of January, which to me the season started 16 days ago.
Yeah, I've backed Dallas the last few years, and they haven't gotten there for me. So I'm very leery about going back to the well with them because they've let me down. Of course, this will probably be the year that they actually do it. All right, let's get to tonight. We have a lot of games tonight in the NHL. We'll start with the Devils, who are in Toronto. Of course, their head coach, Sheldon Keefe, heading back there where he was the Leaf coach for many years. Devils favorites on the road, minus $1.20, even money for the Leafs, and a 5.5.
Well, I mean, Toronto's kind of skidding right now, right? They've lost 3 in a row, and I mean, I'm going to take the Devils in Scotiabank in Toronto. The Devils are better.
Devils are better than them. I do not disagree with that. The Caps are in Ottawa this evening against the Senators. Caps, of course, been playing great. This is actually, I've got as a straight pick 'em right now. -110 on both sides with the 5.5 total.
Won't be easy. They're tough at home, but I'm going to take the Capitals on the road here.
Our first heavy lumber game of the night down in the Bay. Tampa Bay has the Ducks, quack, 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 coming into town. Ducks lost 3-0 in Washington. They did win in Carolina on this road trip. Tampa -320, +255 for the Ducks and a 6.5.
Huck line it, lay the goal and a half at -120 with the Lightning at Amalie. They're going to kick the Ducks' ass. The other night we tried to go with the Ducks and they got bent over. Same thing tonight.
We head downstate. The Panthers are home as well tonight in Sunrise, where the Red Wings are in. Of course, they just had their 7-game win streak snapped. Pretty good lumber here, too. -265 for the Panthers, +215 for the Wings. 5.5 the total. I know Florida's got good D, and they don't let up a lot of goals. I gave you those numbers yesterday. Detroit's been scoring a lot of goals lately, Scotty. And, I mean, even that Shark game they lost the other night, what was there, 9-10 goals scored in that game? I like the over.
I'm willing to bet on them to win. +215. Detroit wins and stuns the Panthers tonight in Sunrise. They get burned at home. At worst, take the goal and a half at -115 on the puck line. I think you'll be all right.
The Sharks also been on the East Coast swing after their win in Detroit the other night. They're in Columbus this evening. Jackets -164, +135 for the Sharks and a 6.5 here.
Yeah, I'm not laying that kind of lumber, but I am going to go puck line at +143. I do think the Sports Jackets can win by 2 goals.
The Islanders are at the horse track tonight. Should be a spirited crowd after the 2-0 loss to Ottawa the other night. They have the Flyers in -1, laying 137 with the Isles. The Flyers are +114 and a 5.5.
I mean, the Islanders have to win this game or it starts getting embarrassing. I'll take them at the horse track at that price.
God, I hope so. I mean, can you show up and win at home for once? The Flames are in St. Louis against the Blues. I believe this is a callback. Yes, remember they were there Tuesday night, so this is a double dip. Blues beat them 2-1. Tonight, Blues -146, +122 for Calgary and a 5.5.
Tonight they lose. Flames +122. I see it at $1.18, whatever. I'm going to take Calgary here to even this thing.
Chicago is in Nashville tonight against the Predators. Now, we know that the Preds are bad, but Chicago is horrible. But you're laying big money with the Preds. -285, +225 for the Hawks, and a 5.5.
Well, I mean, they lit it up the other night at home. I think they won 5-3. Give me the Predators on the puck line. Lay the goal and a half at -115.
The Canadians, who, as we know, have been playing good, they won in Utah the other night, are in Dallas against the Stars. Stars just over 2 bills here, -215, -235 for them, +190 for the Habs, and a 6.5.
Oh, God. I don't think they're going to win this game by 2 goals. I like Montreal plus a goal and a half at -140 on the puck line.
I like the under. I know it's been banged down to 5.5 in a lot of places by now. I think it's an under game for the Habs and the Stars. All right, let me give you one more, and then we'll do the rest after the break. Kraken and the Jets in Ferrellapeg. More lumber, -215 for Winnipeg, +176 for the Kraken and a 5.5.
I'm laying the puck line here as well at +118, laying the goal and a half. I think the Jets will smoke the Kraken like everybody else.
All right, I got 3 more for you, including 2 teams you were just talking about. You know, Colorado and Edmonton playing tonight at the Ball should be a good one. So a back-to-back for Edmonton after winning last night in Minnesota. I'll give you those numbers. The Ranger game, the Kings are in Vancouver. We'll do all that on the other side.
Yeah, those last 3 games are really good out west.
The defending champion Kansas City Chiefs aim for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl, but the Texans are ready to end the dynasty. Then the Commanders, fresh off their first playoff win since 2006, take on the high-powered offense of the Detroit Lions. Start your game day with pro football today at 10 a.m. for pregame betting. Then stay in the action with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, those last three NHL games are really good ones tonight out west, Mike.
They are really good ones. Why don't we start with the Rangers, who are in Utah against the Hockey Club. Rangers right now, I got them slight favorite, minus 115. I got Utah minus 105 right now, and a 5.5.
I think the Rangers win this game. I went with them the other night in Colorado, high risk. They were up 2-1. They blew the game, as I mentioned. They lost in overtime on the Taves goal. I think they go into the Delta and Salt Lake Shakers and beat the Utah Hockey Club.
Probably the best game of the night. The Oilers, off the win in Minnesota, back-to-back to the ball in Colorado, where they'll see the Avalanche. Avalanche minus 126, Oilers plus 105 with a 6.5.
I like the Avs being fresh over the Oilers, who played last night and had to travel and then jump in a hotel at 3 a.m, get up, skate, and then play this team with this speed tonight at the Ball Arena. I mean, the Avs have to prove, I think, to everyone that they're legitimate here. Like, are they for real or not? I mean, you know, they've won before. They've won the Cup. They've done all this. They need to show that they're the real deal tonight against a team that's flat out better than them. But you get them on the back of a, two-gamer. I think you got to win this game. You lose this game, then that shows me that the Oilers can beat them on no rest.
Yep, that's indeed. And finally, the Kings are in Vancouver against the Canucks. Kings, I've got this flipped, actually. I know this morning the Canucks were a small favorite. I, at this second, have the Kings minus 115, Vancouver minus 105 with a 5.5.
The Canucks have lost 5 of their last 6 games. They haven't won 2 in a row since November 29th and December 1st. The Kings are better than the Canucks. I like LA tonight at Rogers in Vancouver.
There is your night in hockey. What a great night of hockey that we have this evening. Everybody does love hockey, and there's only like 2 games tomorrow night, so we got to get it all in. I don't know how you do that. I don't know how you have like 12 games one night and 2 games the next night. I mean, can we spread it out a little bit better? Like the NHL's the worst with that in terms of their scheduling. I moved something up because I knew I would have 2 minutes, and I figured it deserved more than just a blow through in the leftover segment later. And there was a few people that passed away today, but Bob Uecker, 90 years old, passing away. Of course, played longtime broadcaster for the Brewers, actor, Major League, Mr. Belvedere. Bob Uecker, Scotty, gone at 90. What a loss. Rest in peace.
Yeah, I think it's a huge loss for baseball. And, let's face facts. This guy was hilarious. I mean, I remember growing up and watching him doing, Miller Lite commercials. I saw today someone put a giant 40 of Miller Lite on his statue outside the ballpark in Brewtown. I think he was an institution in not only Milwaukee, but in baseball. I think he's clearly the funniest guy that ever played baseball or that ever had anything to do with Major League Baseball. I think he's a Hall of Famer because of his humor, certainly not his baseball. I thought his play-by-play work was worthy of the Hall of Fame as well. But his comedic ability, what he did on Johnny Carson when I was a kid, he was always on Johnny Carson, and he was terrific. I don't know if you've ever seen him talk about trying to catch a knuckleball, but he talks about how you just let it spin until it stops spinning and then have the umpire pick the ball up and hand it to you. He's just a freak, and he was genuine. He was real. He was always there. Talk about a guy that lived at a ballpark. I mean, this guy called every Brewers game for the last 50-some years. He was really special, and it's amazing to me how they show a guy that really, never mattered as a player at all. He joked about how the, companies paid him not to use their equipment. But he would walk out on a baseball field and wave his arm, and fans, 60,000 fans would go crazy. I mean, this guy was loved by everyone, Mike. Everyone loved him everywhere. It didn't matter if he was a Brewers guy. People still loved him.
And he did games all the way to the end. I mean, he called a couple of those games against the Mets that they lost in that first round. And, man, it sucks. He was so good in those Major League movies. Just outstanding.
John Sterling.
The defending champion Kansas City Chiefs aim for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl, but the Texans are ready to end the dynasty. Then the Commanders, fresh off their first playoff win since 2006, take on the high-powered offense of the Detroit Lions. Start your game day with pro football today at 10 a.m. for pregame betting. Then stay in the action with in-game live game day. Only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the game starts so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today. And stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day only on SportsGrid.
Very few people are as popular as Bob Uecker was, but clearly one of them is Adam Caplan, our NFL insider on SportsGrid and Coast to Coast. You see him here every Thursday. He's followed the NFL for almost 30 years. You can follow him at Caplan NFL on X. Don't forget, we do a double shot with Adam every Thursday. That means in the second segment, we have another exciting edition of Bust a Cap in Yo Ass, which is where Adam gives his spread picks for the divisional games on Saturday and Sunday. Adam, good to see you. Let's start with Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
What is the status of Sam Darnold after that miserable performance? Now, I blame half of it on his offensive line. The guy got sacked 9 times. He got abused, but he was going to be worth this much money, probably $40 million or more, and now those days seem long gone.
Yeah, so a couple things. He's a free agent, right? So he had signed a deal with the Vikings for around $9 million, right? $8.75 million was the exact number. Obviously, he outplayed that in a significant way. Up to the final 2 games where he got sacked a lot, yes, the offensive line had major problems. There's no question about that. There's no denying it. But the problem that I had in this last game against the Rams is, and I get he was trying to make plays. He kept holding on to the football. And the knock on him, Scott, there were 3 things prior to the season: seeing the rush, handling the blitz, and holding the ball too long. They're all connected, and you saw that manifest itself over the final 2 games with the Vikings. Now, up to that point, the question would be is how much would the deal be coming back to the Vikings? Because you can't walk away from a guy's playing at this level. But now J.J. McCarthy plays into it, right? Now, J.J. McCarthy wound up not playing this season, as we know, with a torn meniscus. He got hurt in that first preseason game against the Raiders. He actually played very well, but unfortunately got hurt. So they really don't know a lot about him. He started to come on late in training camp and unfortunately had this injury in the preseason, so that set him back. But the Vikings, I know for a fact, have not made any decisions where they're going to pursue bringing back Darnold yet. But Darnold's certainly in the conversation to do it. But it's certainly, these 2 games show that he's always capable of regressing back to where he was for the season, which was a journeyman quarterback. He never played well, Scott, in his career. Never. He could never string 1-2 good games together. This year, he was absolutely phenomenal. My vote is due tonight by midnight, and I can tell you this. I'm going to give you this right now. I am voting for the most improved player, offensive player in the NFL, Sam Darnold. Okay, there's no question about it. He came out of nowhere like Geno Smith did 3 years ago. Nobody saw that coming after 10 years. This is a great story. And also, by the way, it's not like he's 30. He's actually pretty young. He'll get a good free agent deal, whether it's with the Vikings or not. But the Vikings have leverage here because of J.J. McCarthy. We don't want to beat Darnold up too much because you're right about the offensive line, but he also has to take responsibility. That ball's got to come out, and he's got to see the rush better. That was the problem, particularly in this last game with the Vikings. And by the way, Darnold is by far the best free agent quarterback. This is a bad year, I can tell you right now. It's a bad year for free agency. You and I will talk more about the draft later on. But the early word is it's a 2-quarterback first round. That's it in 2025.
So do you think he's going to make over $30 million? And is your guess he stays in Minnesota or not?
I would say this, up to the final 2 games, I lock to return, not anymore because of the way that he played and because of McCarthy. I know in coaching, you never walk away from players who play super high-level football. You just don't do it. But you have to be alarmed at the way he just played here. And by the way, the contract, so let's get to that before we move on to the Saturday and Sunday games. I look at him getting a sort of bridge deal. I do not see anyone committing to $40, $50 million a year. That's not going to happen. You look at Baker Mayfield's deal, which is around $33 million. If enough teams are involved, he could get up to $35 million, somewhere between $30 and $35 million, with the first 2 years fully guaranteed. Because what that gives you, Scott, is obviously if you're bringing him as a free agent, you got to give him 2 years where you can't get out of the contract because why would Darnold do it otherwise? But after that, because he's not proven himself, this is 1 year he's done it, Scott. It's 1 year that he's done it. Let's not forget about that.
Well, if he does a 2-year deal at that kind of money, set for life. Like, it doesn't matter what happens after that. He will literally, fiscally, for his family and kids and their kids, be set for life. Let's go to Saturday's key lineup changes and injury updates as we look first at Arrowhead and the Texans and Chiefs in Kansas City.
Yeah, and it's going to be really cold. Weather, mid-20s, wind 11 to 13 miles an hour now. C.J. Stroud, it's been a rough season for C.J. Stroud. There's no question he's taken a little bit of a step back. But let's call it like it is. They've had major issues with their offensive line, injuries, lineup changes. They're down 2 of their top receivers for the season. Tank Dell, unfortunately, Scott, he had that horrific knee injury where he scored a touchdown at Kansas City in Week 15. He's done until next season. By the way, they don't know exactly when he'll return, as I understand it. They expect him to play next season, but they couldn't tell you which month he'll be back. And Stephon Diggs also tore his ACL. And then Robert Woods, by the way, who've been starting, he didn't practice this week due to injury. So they're really light at receiver right now. That's a concern. Now, for the Chiefs, Scott, the one concern I have is at left tackle. DJ Humphries, a former first-round pick for the Cardinals, who they signed to be a starter, he's been out for over 4 weeks with this hamstring issue, okay? He took a lot of work with the first team this week. He's going to play. The question is, can he play a full game? If they don't think he can, it's going to be Joe Tooney, their left guard, who had filled in for him and moved over from left guard to left tackle. That is the one issue, Scott. Remember you and I talked about this years ago when the Chiefs had major offensive line problems for the Super Bowl? So what do? They got 5 new starters. Right here, they got to get the left tackle situation straightened out going to the offseason. That is the number one issue right now for this football team is left tackle.
So you saw the Texans rake Orange Sherbert and the Chargers in that playoff game at NRG. Their pass rush was ferocious. Do you believe that the Texans will be able to have that kind of pass rush against this Kansas City line?
They'll have their moments, Scott. They'll have their moments, but I trust their O-line coach, Andy Heck, and Andy Reid as a play caller to make sure they've got this thing straightened out, whether it's playing more 12 personnel, which is 2 tight ends, 2 receivers, and 1 back, to make sure they got an extra tight end in there or an extra lineman. They'll do that. It's not like they don't know that they've been dealing with this for 5 weeks. It's been an ongoing problem, Scott. This should not be happening. Let's call it like it is. They drafted Kingsley Sumatea, a left tackle from BYU. He clearly wasn't ready. They tried Wanye Morris. He wasn't ready. And they're now down to DJ Humphries. This is an issue. They're going to win Sunday. We're going to talk about this. We'll talk about the line and the number. By the way, I was 5-2 last week, but we're going to talk about that in the second segment. But it's fair to bring this up, Scott. This should not be happening this late in the season.
Slow down now. There were 6 games. So you went 5-2. There were 6 games. I went 4-2.
Yeah.
Did you go 5-1?
Yeah.
You go 5-1?
No, I was 4-2. I was 4-2. Let's be clear. I was 4-2.
All right, I was 4-2 as well. Not to call you out. I just know there were 6 games that we bet on. Yeah, I thought maybe you had another 5-1 heater is what I thought. Like, because people know what happens when you start picking games. I can't be, going over the amount of games. All right, Commanders and Lions Saturday night at Ford Field in Detroit Rock City.
Yeah, Bobby Wagner gave the team a scare with his ankle injury. He's going to play. He got cleared today for Washington. And then, now this is huge. David Montgomery's been cleared. He's got the MCL sprain. He looked fine, I'm told, in practice this week. He's ready to go. Now, Kevin Zeitler, one of their starting guards, is out with a hamstring injury. I'm not concerned about that. They've got good depth on the offensive line. Getting Montgomery back, Scott, is absolutely huge. I give Washington, as you remember, last week, that was the one game where I said, Washington's a live dog here. Take the money line on that game. I like Washington in terms of what their story's been.
Yeah,
but this is a different animal, though. Scotty, this is a different animal to go on the road in that hostile environment. It is so hard to win in Detroit, but we'll talk more about that in the second segment.
Were they not in a hostile environment at Raymond James on Sunday night? In that game, they had so many 4th downs, and they still found a way to win that game. Is that not hostile?
Yeah, but nothing like playing indoors in Detroit. And by the way, the red zone running game was atrocious. Let's call it like it is. Look, I loved it. I was pulling for Washington. I think it's a great story. But this is a whole nother animal with that Lions, a team of destiny.
Well, it sounds like you're giving them no chance at all.
Not yet. Hey, that's a big number, by the way. We're going to talk about that. We will talk about that.
All right. So, we all know it's at 9.5 right now on Saturday night in Detroit. And then the Texans number is you can still get it at 8.5. When we come back, we'll break down Sunday's games with Adam Caplan, plus bust a cap in your ass where he'll do his spread picks for 4 divisional games Saturday and Sunday.
The defending champion Kansas City Chiefs aim for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl, but the Texans are ready to end the dynasty. Then the Commanders, fresh off their first playoff win since 2006, take on the high-powered offense of the Detroit Lions. Start your game day with pro football today at 10 a.m. for pregame betting. Then stay in the action with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, let's go to Sunday now with Adam Caplan, our NFL insider. The game at the Link in Philly with the Rams and Eagles. Let's start with the weather before we get into any injuries or otherwise.
Yeah. In fact, now listen. Let me make this clear. Forecasts can change. I'm very into weather for everything I do in my career, particularly what we do here. And right now, the latest forecast has it snowing all game now. But again, it's not a lot of snow, up to an inch. Yes, it could change and we could have no snow, but I'm just telling you as of Thursday, that's what's expected. A decent amount of wind, not terrible. Now, look, the Eagles don't throw the ball at us, because the offense goes through Saquon Barkley. Oh, by the way, remember that over-under total was 1,002 yards? Do you remember that, Scott?
Yeah.
We talked at the start of the year. And, boy, he had that really early. So, look, for the Rams, they have a couple injury concerns here, and this one is important. Ahkello Witherspoon, you might remember him for the 49ers. He played in the Super Bowl. He's a tall corner. He's got a hamstring issue. They're not sure if he can play. And then Alaric Jackson, their left tackle, they believe he can play. Tyler Higbee, by the way, has been cleared. Now, Scott, Higbee got off to an incredible start. He was going to crush his prop. In fact, he had a number of catches in the first quarter. Then he had a chest contusion. He got sent to the hospital to figure out why he was bleeding, but they believe he's going to be able to go. And by the way, Higbee had 3 touchdowns at the Link during the COVID year. So that's a guy that's pretty athletic and could hurt the Eagles there. Now, for the Eagles, this is A.J. Brown's going to play. He got some work in today. He got hurt against your Steelers. If you recall in that game in Week 15 at Philly, the Eagles shocked everybody to run the clock out. They threw the football instead of running it, and A.J. Brown got tackled awkwardly, and unfortunately he's been not the same since then. He doesn't look great. He just does not look great. And by the way, you can't take the player prop the over with A.J. Brown right now, because the offense does not go through Jalen Hurts' arm like it did in 2022. It goes through the hands and feet of Saquon Barkley. So you can't. You got to any passing props. You got to ignore them. There's just I can't see it. And plus with the weather, it's totally up in the air.
And this guy Barkley went off for 255 against the Rams in his best game of the year.
Yeah, he was. In fact, Scott, he had 2 70-yard runs in that game. Think about that. 2, Scott, at SoFi.
That's crazy. All right, let's go to the game of the weekend. It's Sunday night, the coup de grace, the Ravens and Bills at Orchard Park at Highmark in the Below.
This is amazing, Scott. So as you know, Buffalo opened as a 1.5 point favorite. Now, depending on which book you're looking at, the Ravens are a 1 point favorite. Now, this injury is key. It may not have been a key last week, but it's key this week because they're going to have to score. Zay Flowers now has missed 5 straight practices, including today's, with this lingering knee problem, which, by the way, they thought he was week to week anyway when he suffered the injury. Tylan Wallace, who was a draftee of theirs 4 years ago, he's on the final year of his rookie deal. He's been starting for him. That's a big downgrade. You're going to have to score against Josh Allen. By the way, the weather right now, because you always have to talk about it, 15 to 20 degrees, outside chance of light snow. Unless it's super windy, I don't worry about that. You know what Josh Allen could do. You know what Lamar Jackson can do. This is a game of the ages. I cannot wait for this game. Really, not only the two best quarterbacks, these two quarterbacks are right now the best dual threat quarterbacks in the National Football League. To me now, again, depending who's voting, I'm most likely going to vote tonight for Lamar Jackson as MVP. It's simply, Scott, because it's the whole season. You can't have recency bias. Josh Allen has been unbelievable in the second half, but again, his first half was not as good.
So we're hearing that the daytime and up till game time, before the sun goes down, it's going to be 16 to 20. But when that sun goes down and it's 6:30 at night, 7 o'clock at night, it's going to go down to single digits and be literally freezing ass in Buffalo. I think it's going to be way worse than 16 to 20 for that game on Sunday night. All right, it's time for the always anticipated and fans clamor for bust a cap in your ass. All right, let's start with Saturday in Arrowhead at 4:30 on ABC, Houston and Kansas City. It's 8.5 with Kansas City obviously favored as the number 1 seed.
Scott, and remember the first game, ironically, what was the score? The Chiefs won by 8. And that last game was in week 15. Now, the things have changed a little bit. Tank Dell's not playing. That worries me. And their offensive line for the Texans has not been great. I know they played well last week for a change. Like the Chiefs in this game to cover it. It's one of these things that could be close, but I feel that they'll win by 10 or more in the end.
Oh, what a miserable thought that is. All right, 8 o'clock on Fox in Detroit. You've got Washington, the 6th seed, against the number 1 seeded Lions. They've been resting, lying in the weeds. They're 15-2. They're laying 9.5.
That's a big number. I don't like that it's that high, but getting back David Montgomery is massive for them to run the clock out, for grind carries, to not wear down Jahmyr Gibbs, who's been unbelievable this season. Best running back doing the National Football League. I like Washington last week outright, as I told you in last Thursday's Coast to Coast, because this is a game they could win. I thought they're a little bit better than the Bucs. They barely got the job done, but this is a whole nother animal. Trying to get it up again on the road. I don't see it. I see the Lions cover this number, winning by 10 or more.
Sunday at 3 o'clock on NBC, it's the Rams and Eagles at the Link in Philadelphia. Phillies laying 6 in the light snow.
I know that the Rams have been playing better lately. The Eagles blew out the Rams it was actually week 12, and it was, you mentioned it, 255 for Barkley. And the problem that you have for the Rams is they don't match up well against this massive Eagles offensive line. The Eagles will cover that number. They'll win by more than 7. I do not expect this to be a high-scoring game. By the way, the over-under totals drop a little bit. It's dropped a couple points here, and there's a reason for it. Weather and the Eagles, Scott, as you know, they're not a passing team. They're a running team. Take the Barkley over prop. Trust me on that one.
All right, at 6:30 on CBS, it's the 3-seed Baltimore against the 2-seed Bills at home at Highmark in the Below. Buffalo getting one in the light snow and in the teens.
I've gone back and forth in this game. I know Baltimore has turned around their season. There's no question about it. They've shown they can win on the road. But Buffalo is so good at home. They have a little bit of revenge on their mind for the blowout earlier this season in the battle of the two best quarterbacks in the National Football League. This thing's going to come down possibly to a field goal. I'm not worried about the weather for Buffalo winning. They know the weather, obviously. Baltimore plays in cold weather. I don't think it's the big deal that people are making it out. But the bottom line is, to me, Buffalo's been a more consistent team this season, and I like Buffalo.
There he is, taking the Buffalo Bills, getting Carver High very excited. Adam, great stuff. Thank you. Enjoy the games.
The defending champion Kansas City Chiefs aim for an unprecedented third straight Super Bowl. But the Texans are ready to end the dynasty. Then the Commanders, fresh off their first playoff win since 2006, take on the high-powered offense of the Detroit Lions. Start your game day with pro football today at 10 a.m. for pregame betting. Then stay in the action with in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
Anyone that's been to a sporting event, the atmosphere before a game, I think Game Time Decisions has that same exact atmosphere. This is our arena. This is what we do. There is going to be an energy to Game Time Decisions that you will feel night in and night out. The excitement you get when you lock your bets in, when you're figuring out what you want to do, we can zone in on the biggest games each night. I want this to be the place that people come to before the games start so they feel as ready as possible to lock in their cards. We are going to hit every single one of those markets that you need to know about. We're going to go through every single thing, and I've got a great team behind me that's going to help me get the job done. There is not going to be a better place, I promise you, than Game Time Decisions to get that new information, react to it, and be able to then bet accordingly. We will have everything at our disposal, and we will use that to our advantage. I'm Kevin Walsh. Tune into Game Time Decisions from 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern on SportsGrid.
This Sunday, the Rams carry the weight of their city when they face the Eagles. Then it's a clash of MVP caliber quarterbacks, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson. SportsGrid has you covered all day, starting at 8 a.m. with FST for daily fantasy lineups. Lock in your picks with Pro Football Today and stay dialed in with real-time betting on in-game live game day, only on SportsGrid.
All right, Carver High, everybody loves leftovers.
Everybody does love leftovers, and believe it or not, I'm going to give you some Aussie Open in the leftovers today. Of course, they are down under playing the first tennis major of the year. Now, I don't know if you saw this clip today. So Danielle Collins, who's an American tennis player, she's been around for a little bit. She's made some quarters. I think she made the final of the Aussies once. Decent player. She's down there. She's the 10 seed of the tournament. She beat some Australian girl early this morning, Scotty, and the crowd was obviously against her. They were rooting for the girl from Australia. So afterwards, the booing, the jeering, Collins starts giving the crowd the Hulk Hogan. Hear that? She's going after the crowd, giving them the business. I thought it was great. And then she gave some more explanation of it afterwards on the podium.
And just, pushed me kind of through the finish line. I was really happy too. Like in the end, when I finally got momentum, I'm like, well, if I'm going to be out here for 2.5 hours and putting up with all these people, I might as well just take the bigger paycheck, right? And I was super happy to do that. And one of the greatest things about being a professional athlete is the people that don't like you and the people that hate you, they actually pay your bills. It's kind of a cool concept. And, obviously my professional career is not going to last forever. And so I just remind myself every day, like when I have that kind of stuff, like they're paying my bills. Like every person that's bought a ticket to come out here and heckle me or, do what they do, like it's all going towards the Danielle Collins Fund. So bring it on. I love it.
That was great.
That was outstanding.
I love
Danielle
it.
Collins, our new favorite female tennis player on Coast to Coast. We will now root
Thanks
for Danielle
paying
Collins.
my bills, you morons.
But doesn't tennis need this? Like, we need more personality. We need somebody who's available. That's why it was. And now Kyrgios is gone. We liked him because he gave everyone the business. Like, we need someone like this. Former NBA player and part of the Seattle Supersonics 79 championship team, Gus the Wizard Williams. Passes away at 71. Very sad. And legendary photographer Heinz Klutmeyer passed away. Now, why does he make it today? He took the iconic 1980 USA Miracle on Ice photo. You know the one, Scotty, where they're all jumping on each other and the flag's out there. He is the one, Hines, who took that. He passed away today.
One of the greatest pictures ever in sports when they won at Lake Placid and they all lost their minds after winning and dropped their gloves and sticks and threw them in the air and they were all dancing on the ice. He got that iconic shot, a legendary sports photographer. Congratulations. I know a guy, Chuck Solomon, that worked at Sports Illustrated forever, did the same thing. Tons of killer photos. Always love great photographers' work. It's time for the Ferrall finish. Dozens of suspected looters accused of preying on ritzy neighborhoods that evacuated during the LA fires. They're out to get the looters. How about these people that go around trying to make money off of people's problems? Kids basketball coach arrested for hitting a man with a car, and they caught it on video. My man wasn't having it with this other individual, so he ran him over with his car. That's how you handle your business. A Chipotle customer slams a worker in the face with a burrito bowl. Now, that is a strong effort as well. You're just not having any shenanigans at the Mexican restaurant. So you take matters into your own hands and start throwing burrito bowls around. Los Angeles area authorities are investigating human legs found on the shoreline. With everything going on with the fires, how do they have time to go down to check the shoreline and find human leg remains? A young woman was doused with gas and set on fire while walking to the store. Authorities are mystified at how this could happen, but I would have loved to have seen footage of that as well. We've had a lot of that in New York. People setting people on fire on the subways. A 23-year-old Santa Cruz surfer rode a potential world record wave carver high, 108 feet tall. My man had it all going. This was the biggest wave I have ever seen, including waves at Mavericks. My man's a badass, a New York youth basketball coach. Punches a ref in the mouth after disagreeing with a call. He just wasn't having it. Hopefully that will not happen to me tonight at my daughter's high school game. GTD is next. Check out my app. Just search Ferrall. It's badass as well. We'll see you tomorrow on a Pain-Free Friday 3s on Coast to Coast.
It's going to be copy-paste. Books are, not good. Win total's a tick too low. Knock it right over. Make playoff price tick too juicy. Bang it out. Postseason comes around on a tee. Knock their heads off.
I don't think the Steelers organization just makes a move to make a move. They have to have, it's like being in the book. You have to know what you're going to move the line to.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Two guys that can do it all.
Too much electricity this morning.
This is a good time. We're having a lot of fun.
I had to do a triple take. Ka-ching! Why? Because of parity.
I didn't mean to offend.
Yeah, it's not going to happen.
Load management is a dirty word.
Let him rip.
You know what? Circumstances provide the results. What? How do you do this once? Oh, Donnie, you got such a good show there.
A network that is booming.
The Early Line. Only on SportsGrid.
Talk about it failing and always putting the square peg into the round hole. We're going to run it. We're going to try and play these lower scoring games. They didn't score over 17 points in the 5 straight losses.
There's a chance for the Ravens to exercise every single demon on their way to a Super Bowl. But it also means the path is very difficult and things are only getting started.
Pro Football Today. Only on SportsGrid.